What's up, folks? It's Bunny Love. I'm back with another review. This one is on One Ton Family. I'm telling you, I've been doing a lot of homework with these my 600-pound life episodes that I've never reviewed before, but trying to get caught up in reviewing them now. And when I say that I really had to take notes. One Ton Family was a two-part episode. Yeah, part one and part two. And it had three siblings, Clarence, Brandy, and Rashonda. They all decided to lose weight together. They were all morbidly obese. And because it was a two-part story, I literally had to write up 7 pages worth of notes. I just got done watching it again to make sure I got everything. I didn't want to miss anything. I used to didn't do this. I used to didn't take notes for these reviews, but I think now it's necessary because when I look back over my videos, I realize that some of the reviews I've done, I had missed a part, I missed a scene or whatever. So I'm trying to do everything in my power to make sure that does not happen again. So, okay. One Ton Family. So we start off the episode with Rashonda. She's introducing herself. She was 30 years old at the time. This episode aired in May of 2018. So we're talking about going on 2 years ago. Going on 2 years ago. Okay. So she's 30 at the time. So obviously she's older now. And she's pretty much letting you know where she's from, Lafayette, Louisiana. And she talks about how it's difficult for her to get around. So then next scene is Brandy Perio, the sister of Rashonda, 29 years old at the time. And she was pretty much guessing her weight. She said she believes she's about 600 plus pounds. So then we meet Clarence. They move on to him. He introduced himself. He's age 33 at the time. So he's the oldest of the three. Brandy has a twin brother named Brandon. I wanted to speak on that. Not really much to speak on, but she does have a twin. But I do remember Rashonda saying in one of the voiceovers that Brandon always just kind of, went off and did his own thing. He was still brother to him. He still loved them, but he just wasn't part of that trio. It was like Clarence, Rashonda, and Brandy, they were a trio. They did everything together. They would eat and get fat together. They would hang out together. They didn't live that far from one another on purpose. They purposely moved close to one another. They did a lot of things together. They were very close. But Brandon just wasn't a part of that as far as like always with them all the time. But he still seemed like he loved and cared for his family. He was definitely there for Brandy when she ended up getting her surgery. He was right there at the hospital supporting her and all that. But you didn't really see him too much throughout the show. But Brandy does have a twin named Brandon. So I just wanted to put that out there. So moving forward, Clarence talked about his weight. And, I did a review about, just recently about Benji and David. And I talked about how Benji was quite cocky because he was the smaller of the two between him and his brother. Brother was 100 and something, almost 200 pounds heavier. So because his brother's weight was higher, he felt like he didn't need the program and he was better off because he wasn't as bad as him. And I just talked about that in that video, and I'm about to talk about the same subject in this video because Clarence had that attitude as well. Clarence talked about that quite a bit throughout this episode, at how he was the smallest one between Brandy and Rashonda. Rashonda weighed in at 800 pounds. Brandy weighed in at over 600. Clarence was in the 500s. So because he was in the 500s, I mean, he's still big, But he felt like, oh, well, shit, I don't need this shit because they need it more than me. I'm not bad as them. And he even threw that at them throughout argument. When they would argue, I'm big, but I ain't there yet. I ain't where you at. Yeah, I mean, just cocky, like just this cocky nature that was not necessary. You know what I mean? They all were big. They all were big. You know, one might be worse off than the other, but they all were big. I mean, so you all needed to lose weight. And he discussed that when he was introducing himself. Now he said that he was the most mobile, and he was the one that was kind of like the caretaker to the sisters. Okay, so you're more mobile. We get it. We know that you're there helping your sisters, but when you get mad with them, don't throw that up in their face about how you smaller than them, and you on that road, you on that path too to becoming morbidly obese, but I ain't there yet. That just that irritated me a little bit, because it's like, how about you all support each other? You know, I mean, he ended up supporting them eventually. He did, for the most part he did, but it just little slurs he threw that I wasn't cool with. I didn't think that was cool. So anyway, they go to a doctor in Louisiana. They from Lafayette, Louisiana. So they goes to a doctor down there. They're trying hard to find a doctor in their area to perform surgery on them, because they know it would be, a more of a challenge to go out of town. They thought they found a doctor that was going to help, and this doctor turned them down. He said, "We don't do patients of your size. You have to be smaller, because it's not safe to put you through surgery over 600 pounds." Even though Clarence wasn't over 600 pounds, I guess they still considered him a risk. So they were the ones, the doctor that they went to in Louisiana, they were the ones that referred Dr. Now to, to them. It came from that doctor that said no, and they gave them that referral for Houston. So this is the part, I'm getting ready to talk about the part that was the most interesting with this episode. So they make the decision, well, Rashonda and Brandy made the decision to choose Dr. Now. They had two choices. The doctor gave them two referrals, so they picked Dr. Now. And they depend on Clarence for everything. So they basically told Clarence, well, Clarence told them, he first told them, he says, well, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can just uproot my life and leave town and take y'all somewhere. I don't know about all that. You get surgery, you're going to have to stay down there. I don't know if I want to just pack up and move and stay down there with y'all. I have a life here in Lafayette of my own. Plus, I'm taking care of Dad. He was taking care of their father, too. His father's health was declining, and he needed some help as well. So, long story short, as far as this scene, because this was a pretty long scene, but I'm gonna try to explain it fast. But I'm going to explain it because this was the most interesting part of the episode to me. So, Rashonda and Brandy decide to go with Dr. Now, right? Which is in Houston, which really isn't far from them. Houston, Texas is not far from Lafayette. It shouldn't be no more than about 6 or 7 hours. But Clarence doesn't want to go at first. He was against going. So Rashonda and Brandy, I think it was more of Rashonda than anybody. Brandy probably too, but I think Rashonda was the ringleader when she said, either you take us down there or get the fuck out of our lives. We don't want to have nothing else to do with you no more. I think that was more of Rashonda. I think that was more of Rashonda. I think Rashonda was the one that, tried to give him that ultimatum. Now, let me say this. It is wrong to give somebody an ultimatum like that. To try to force somebody with that kind of, that's control. if you think about it, that's control, really. You trying to control shit. Either you do what I want you to do, or you fuck you. Don't talk to me no more. I mean, like, that's basically what she was saying. But you can't do that with people. I don't care what you desperately need the help. Okay, you desperately need to get the surgery. Okay, so you don't do that. You don't order people or try to manipulate them with that control. Or if you don't do this for me, then fuck you. Don't fuck with me no more. That's you ever heard the saying you win more or you get more flies with honey or bees with honey than you do with vinegar? Meaning you don't be a bitch to somebody and expect them to do something for you. That you don't do that. So I even though I don't agree with Clarence's response to her, because his response to her was out of order as well, I don't agree with how she came off at him. She was wrong for that. She asked for that argument. She asked for those tears. She asked to be sitting there crying. She asked to be told some shit that she didn't want to hear because of how she came off at her brother. You don't come off at people like that that's trying to help you. You know, if you had said it in a better way, maybe he would have immediately given you a decent response. But you don't do that. But his response, I didn't agree with that either. What pissed me off about his response was the fact that he kept throwing in her face about, I'm big, but I ain't where you are. I ain't there yet. I'm still able to get around. I can still do this. I can still do that. I understand when somebody come at you the way Rashonda did or did, the way she did, that would trigger some anger and for you to say some fucked up shit. But not only was it, just a spur of the moment thing that he said, that's really how he felt at the time. He felt like because he was the smaller of the two, he was just arrogant about it. He felt like he was better than them two. So I didn't like his response to that. It was like, you grown. It's a better way to respond. You don't have to respond with all that bullshit. Stop throwing in their face that they need you and that you are better off than they are. That wasn't cool. But then, when I first saw that scene, I was like, that's not necessary. That wasn't necessary. But after I thought about it for a minute, I was like, well, they are siblings. And siblings do fight. Even adult siblings. You have more of that when siblings are like, middle school age, high school age. Siblings fight all the time around that age. But even as adults, siblings still do have, some pretty heavy disagreements. So, all right, they siblings, they got through it. The next day, they were able to talk through it. They got over it. Clarence did agree to take them down there, but he said he couldn't stay. He had to get back to Louisiana. So I'm glad they were able to get past that, because in that scene right there, Rashonda was crying like a baby. I never seen somebody cry like that. She cried she was hollered so loud the neighbors, my 600-pound, like TLC put the camera on the neighbors, and the neighbors was just looking like, is she crying because she hurting? Like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Or they could have just been used to the fact that that's how she cried when she get upset. You could tell throughout this episode, Rashonda was very emotional individual. But it's to be expected. The girl was 800 pounds and she literally ruined her body. So to get that high with your weight, that's enough to be depressed for. But I will give her props, and I have given her props throughout other videos. I always mention her. I always talk about her. She was a miracle walking. And I use the word was because she's not that heavy anymore. I follow Rashonda on Facebook. I look at her page. She lost a lot of weight. But at the time, being 800 plus pounds, and she still could walk, that was just, that was nothing but just somebody that hadn't all the way given up. Yeah, she was emotional quite a bit, and there were things that would get her depressed. But, the whole overall situation got her depressed. But at the same time, She didn't give up. There are people that are lighter, that was lighter than her as far as weight, less weight, and they were bedbound, cooking in the bed, shitting in the bed, pissing in the bed, bathing in the bed, brushing their teeth in the bed, everything in the bed. But that wasn't her situation. Rashonda was still getting up and walking around. Now, so I can't take that from her. That's remarkable. Somebody that big could still walk around like that. So even though she still needed help with some things, she still could walk at 800 pounds. Show me somebody 800 pounds that still can walk. That's a motherfucking miracle. I'm telling you now. So moving forward, Clarence agrees to take them to Texas, but he said he can't stay. Clarence claims he has a lot of pressure on him with taking care of his father. It's a lot for him to just up and go down there to Houston at that particular time, and that's understandable. If you already have a life established where you live, you can't just pack up and move. Some people just can't do that. Some people can't. I could. I did. I said to hell with Baltimore City. I packed up and left and came right down here to Nashville. Sometimes when you want to change a different environment, better opportunity, you do what you have to do in order to, to make, if you make that move at the spur of the moment, if you have the funds to do it, you do it. If you don't have anything tying you down, but he couldn't do that. He couldn't do like I did. He couldn't just up and just move, because he had things kind of tying him down where he lived, and you taking care of his father and everything. He just couldn't do that at that time. Eventually, throughout the episode, they went down there and stayed in Texas for a little while. But at that particular time, first part of the episode, he just could not move. And that's very understandable. When you have things going on, you just can't do that. So during the drive to Houston, Rashonda was complaining of pain. Halfway there, they stopped at a hotel. Next morning, they were back on the road on the way to Houston. They get to see Dr. Now. They finally get to the doctor's office. They see Dr. Now. Clarence goes first. He weighs in at 582 pounds. Brandy goes second. She weighs in at 620. And Rashonda she goes last. She weighs in at 803. She was quite shocked when she stood on the scale. She said, "Are you sure?" She asked the girl that weighed her. She said, "Are you sure?" And Clarence was like, "Damn." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold up. What you saying damn for?" She stood on that scale and it said 803. He was like, "Well, damn." And I'm looking at this shit like, "Well, damn to you too, motherfucker. You ain't that far behind." I mean, just because you a few hundred pounds less doesn't mean you still not in the super morbidly obese category, brother. You still big. I don't know why people act like that. Oh, I'm the smallest, so I don't give a fuck. I mean, like, that's kind of like that was his attitude. And it's like, you're still fat. You're still big. So stop that shit. Stop with that bullshit. So anyway, y'all know the drill. Dr. Now meets with them, puts them on a diet. Dr. Now checks their heart and lungs. Brandy's heart and lungs seemed like it had the most strain. So he immediately puts her in the hospital. He immediately puts Rashonda in the hospital as well. They're running more tests on Brandy to make sure she's okay because she suffered with diabetes and asthma. She was playing a dangerous game. You got diabetes. Now, asthma as your weight increases, asthma gets worse. It's worse for you with asthma. But diabetes mainly. If you got diabetes, why did you get up to 600 and something? Why? We know it's an addiction. We know all that. We get it. Food addiction is a choice, though. I will say addiction is powerful. It makes your choices, it makes it hard for you to make the right choice. But food addiction is still a choice. Nobody puts a gun to your head to make you eat like that. It's still a choice, regardless of whether addiction is powerful or not. All you got to do is train your mind, and it's hard, but it can be done. But she chose to get to that weight. And she shouldn't have, with diabetes and asthma. Okay, so Dr. Now kept them in the hospital for 2 weeks, found no life-threatening issues after 2 weeks. He got their weight flowing in the right direction. Clarence picks them up from the hospital. When he gets there, everybody gets weighed. Clarence gets weighed. He only loses 5 pounds. Brandy lost 31 pounds in 2 weeks, of course, because she was in the hospital for 2 weeks and she was on a force-controlled diet. Rashonda lost 38 pounds in 2 weeks because she was in the hospital with her sister. And, they were both on controlled diets. And this is why they lost the weight. If they did it on their own, probably not in the first beginning. But they only lost the weight at first because they were in the hospital under Dr. Now's direction where their diet was controlled. Okay. On the ride back home, they stop at Taco Bell and they order in taco salads. Those taco salads at Taco Bell, I get them sometimes because they're pretty good, especially the steak taco salad. They're about 1,000 calories. That's one salad, and it's about 1,000 calories. Hey, I'm not 500 or 600 pounds, so I can have a taco salad from time to time. But when you 500 pounds plus, and you just coming back from seeing a bariatric doctor, why would you stop to Taco Bell and get a taco salad? The shell alone that the salad is in is nothing but carbs. You should not eat that shell. The sour cream in the salad is fattening. They ordered 2 steak salads and 1 chicken. I wrote all that shit down. 2 steak salads and 1. The chicken might have been healthier. Maybe not that much healthy because of all the salt and seasoning that they put on it at Taco Bell. But the steak was that they're not supposed to fuck with red meat on a diet. Chicken, fish, maybe a little seafood, but you got to kind of watch that too because of all the mercury in the sea. But that's it. Steaks. Why would you get steak salad and you just came back? And they couldn't use at that particular time. They couldn't use the fact that they didn't have anywhere to make a healthy meal. They were on their way back home to Lafayette, where there was a kitchen and a refrigerator. If they had just went to Walmart or Kroger or wherever they could get healthy food, they could have, they didn't have to. And if they did feel the need to stop, they could have stopped at Wendy's and got a healthier salad with vinaigrette dressing. There was no excuse for that. That right there was no excuse. It was no excuse. I know it's hard. When you're on the road and you get hungry and all you have is fast food choices. But fast food places now have salads with vinaigrette dressing. Not salads like what you got with all that sour cream, cheese. Well, sometimes cheese is not too bad, but you can't really eat too much cheese when you're on a diet. All that dairy is not good. Salt, all that seasoning, and the taco shell that they come in, that right there is enough. That's enough to fatten you. And you can't eat all that stuff. You can stop somewhere and get you a salad at Wendy's. Wendy's is tempting because they got burgers and fries and all that type of shit. But they have healthier salads than Taco Bell with Italian vinaigrette dressing. You got to stay away from that creamy dressing. It's no good when you on a diet. That stuff's no good. Well, at least the diet that they were put on. You're not supposed to eat that stuff. So anyway, the next scene, we get to the next scene where they are, they had gone to the store. They bought healthy stuff. Rashonda's cooking healthy for everybody. Once they got back. So as time progresses, I think it was about maybe another month. They go back to the doctor. They take that ride down to Houston. They go back to the doctor. Another weigh-in. Okay. Next weigh-in, Clarence only lost 9 pounds. So he's not taking this shit seriously. You know why? Because he feels as though he don't need it as much as his sisters do. So he only lost 9 pounds. Brandy loses 23 pounds. She didn't hit her goal, but she did do pretty okay. She wasn't gaining. She lost. She lost more than her brother. Rashonda loses 114 pounds. She made her goal. She exceeded her goal the first weigh-in. She did pretty good. First go round. She did good. Brandy admits that she does cheat on her diet. Dr. Now gets on Clarence's case about not losing enough weight. Dr. Now said they need to move to Houston. Clarence said no because he had too much going on in Louisiana. So Dr. Now said, well, then why did you join the program? Why'd you even bother? He pretty much said he was just, trying to help them. Clarence was wishy-washy in this episode. He was wishy-washy. 1 minute he wanted the surgery. Next minute he didn't. Then the next minute he wanted the balloon. Then the next minute he didn't. Then the next minute he said, fuck it, I don't want the surgery at all. And then he totally changes his mind and he wants the surgery. He was so... But I think a lot of that had to do with his fears. They talked about how their mother had actually died behind having surgery. So they didn't want to go through the same shit the mother went through, which is understandable. That's enough to make you afraid. I get it, But at the same time, make up your mind. Don't waste the doctor's time. You know what I mean? We get it. We get that you have fears. You're human, so you're going to have fears. We get it, but still. Okay. So, Rashonda gets sent back to the hospital so that tests can be ran. Tests show that there's too much strain on her heart to undergo weight loss surgery. So even though she made her goal, the doctor said she still wasn't ready. She needed to lose more weight because she was still too heavy. Okay, so she had to continue to lose weight on her own, show that she can still keep making progress. Brandy and Rashonda agree to move to Houston. Clarence helps them move. Clarence and their dad all move down temporarily, staying in a hotel until they find a place. Rashonda cheats on her diet because they have no kitchen to cook meals. I think that's bullshit. I think that Rashonda... I take that back. I don't think it's complete bullshit. I think she was... It's true. It's true that they were in a hotel and they didn't have anywhere to cook healthy meals. That was true. No kitchen, no refrigerator, nothing. But she used that as an excuse. She just wanted to eat because she was depressed that she was not approved for surgery. She thought after she lost all that weight and she worked hard the first go around that the doctor was just going to say, oh, well, you're going to get surgery. The doctor is trying to do this the right way and he's trying to do this safely. Okay? You lost the weight and he's not taking that away from you. He's congratulating you for all the weight that you've lost. However, you walked into his office at 803 pounds. You got to lose a little more than 114 pounds to get to the point of surgery because you're still too heavy to go under that anesthesia for a long period of time. So she still had more work to do. And she was depressed. She was depressed about it and she turned to food to cope with the fact that her surgery was denied. Well, it wasn't denied. She was approved, but the test showed that her body wasn't ready. A lot of that had to do with all that weight. She still needed to get more off. Don't get me wrong now. 114 pounds is significant amount of weight loss. And it's great that she did so good in the first beginning. But BS. She trying to use the fact that they didn't have a kitchen to eat what the fuck she wanted to. Even though that is kind of a reason, but that's still not a good enough excuse. So, okay. So we get to the next weigh-in after about a month and a half. Clarence made his goal. He actually started doing the right thing for a while. He got down to 484 pounds. Brandy lost almost enough. She weighed in at 473, just 6 pounds shy from her target weight. Rashonda steps on the scale. She gained 71 pounds. And see, that goes right back to what I was just talking about. She overate. since the first time. First time she did so well, lost 114 pounds. She goes back a month or so later, and she's at 71 pounds higher, weighing in at 722. And what trips me out about a lot of these cast members is when they go for their weigh-in, knowing that they had a diet that they had to pretty much stick to, they step on the scale. They know that scale ain't gonna say what it's supposed to because they know what they've been doing. And then when they step off the scale, they say, "I can't believe this. I can't believe this happened." She says, "I can't believe how this happened." You know how it happened. You've been bullshitting. You've been sneaking fucked up foods. You've been eating wrong. You know you have. Stop acting like you don't know. Like, why do they be doing that? Like when they get on the scale and they see that it's not where it's supposed to be. I've tried so hard. I don't understand it. That scale does not motherfucking lie. Do you hear what I'm saying? It doesn't lie. It's going to tell you the truth. And it's going to show that you've been sneaking bullshit as far as food, but trying to perpetrate to other people that you don't eat like that. Bunch of crap. Okay, so Dr. Now brings in a colleague. I believe his name was Dr. Eric. Dr. something like that. I think his name was Eric. They're working together on the case because there's 3 of them. So I guess he needed a little help with all 3, working with all 3 of them at the same time. Okay. He addresses Rashonda's massive weight gain. She said the move is what stressed her out. But my siblings did better than me. I sensed a little jealousy there. Brandy lost weight, but not as much as she should have. Clarence lost enough weight. This weigh-in, he did. And Rashonda she was a little jealous, I think, because she did the worst of the 2. Clarence said, "Well, I'm not fat like you." Rashonda said, I worked hard. I don't understand. I think that was inappropriate for Clarence to say, "Well, I'm not fat like you." He didn't have to say that to her. I don't think that was necessary. I mean, she was at a low point at that time. She felt some type of way because she messed up. Everybody is subject to mess up sometimes. Nobody's perfect. Just as long as you get back on track. We human. We do stuff. We fuck up. You know what I mean? So I get it. She fucked up, but to say, "I ain't fat like you," that just probably made her feel even worse. Like, why would you say something like that? I mean, I know y'all siblings and y'all gonna say stuff to each other, but that wasn't necessary. That was just, come on now. Okay. So Dr. Now and his colleague comes down pretty hard on her. Yeah. And they told her she needed to try harder. Dr. Now said, she says, "Why should I do this again? I've already tried. Why should I do it?" He said, "Well, if you want the surgery, this is what you're going to have to do. I'm not just going to give you surgery until you comply with my rules to be in this program." It is his program, and he's running the show. And if you're not doing things the way that you want him to do it, he's just going to kick you out the program. He's done other cast members like that. He has kicked them out the program. Lisa Fleming, Shanae, James K. They got kicked out of the program. LaShanta came real close to him not fucking with her either. He was ready to kick her out of the program. And she finally got it together by the end of the episode. And he was like, "Okay, you lost weight. I'll work with you." But he came real close to kicking her ass out too. I mean, if you don't follow his rules, he's going to kick your ass out. You don't follow his rules, he's not going to fuck with you. Okay, let me wrap this up because I'm over 34 minutes. Let me hurry up and get this over with. This might be a little longer because this was a 2-part episode. You know what I'm saying? I had like 7 pages worth of shit. But I'm going to make this fast. Okay, so he approves Brandy and Clarence for surgery. Rashonda obviously feels discouraged because she was not approved yet. Clarence gets scheduled first. Brandy scheduled after him. Dr. Now says Rashonda got depressed because she wasn't approved for surgery the first go round. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, and she was a little jealous of her siblings because they got their thing. They weight loss surgery, approved. So she wasn't approved yet. So I think she felt some type of way about that. So we move on to the next weigh-in, and Clarence is alone. He's by himself. He gained weight. He gained about 7 pounds. Dr. Now doesn't want to give him surgery, but Clarence wants the gastric balloon. So Dr. Now said, if you ain't ready, I'll take you off the schedule. And he bumped Brandy up for, in his place. So Brandy is the one that ended up getting surgery. So that actually, all of that right there concluded episode 1. So now we on to part 2, episode 2. Brandy goes in for surgery. Surgery goes well. She gets the gastric sleeve. Clarence found an apartment for them, helps them get set up, goes back to Louisiana after he gets them set up in Texas. Rashonda takes care of Brandy after the surgery. She's doing all the cooking. She calls her home girl in, one of her girlfriends. I forgot the girl's name. But she seemed like a nice girl to come down and help. So it's her and the girl. They helping out Brandy as she recovers. Rashonda got really depressed. This was another scene where she started crying and screaming and stuff. She locked herself in her room. She didn't want to be bothered with anybody. She fussed her home girl out. She was like, man, just leave me alone. But the next day she seemed like she was up and active and feeling a little bit better. So she gets back to cooking for her sister, but healthy meals. Brandy gets picked up from the hospital. Clarence decides he wants out of the program. He's so flip-floppy with this episode. You just 1 minute he wants shit, the next minute he don't. He didn't know what the hell he wanted. No disrespect, honey, but I'm just calling it. I'm calling this shit the way I see it. I've been addressing the cast members quite a bit now, a little more in my videos, because they watch the reviews of them. Even if the show has been off the air if the episode aired 2-3 years ago, they still from time to time, their family and their friends, or even them, will get on YouTube and hunt for the shit. They will hunt to see who's been talking about them. They want to see the public's comments. They want to see what the reviewer had to say. You'd be surprised. I've had quite a few cast members. Some of them got mad at me because of what I had to say, because I was telling the truth, as far as the truth to me, my honest, truthful opinion. You get mad about that. But yeah, I address the cast members because I address the cast members because they watch. They watch. Sometimes they'll let you know they're watching. Sometimes they just silent and won't say shit. But the ones that don't like what I have to say, they'll let me know that they don't like what I have to say. I've had quite a few. But yeah, I'm just basically saying all that to say, if you're watching, I'm not trying to be rude and no shit like that. I'm just calling the episode the way that I see it. You know what I mean? Okay. So, yeah, he's flip-floppy. He don't know what he wants. 1 minute he in the program, next minute he's not. Brandy's on a liquid diet. Clarence goes back to Louisiana. He's doing his own diet. Rashonda is mad at Clarence and not speaking to him because he left him down there. Rashonda's very emotional, man. She get upset over almost anything. Rashonda gets upset. Don't fuck with her. She will get upset. So Clarence is in Louisiana taking care of his dad, still fucking up on his diet though, eating bad, eating fast food. They show footage of him going through the drive-thru, just ordering up all this bullshit, but you're supposed to be on a diet though. I'm calling the episode the way that I said. Things have changed now. They all in the blogs. Clarence lost a lot of weight. Brandy lost a ton of weight. Rashonda lost a lot of weight. I'm not talking about as far as what's going on right now. And being that you have lost weight now, and things have changed from when that episode aired, I'm happy for you. Big ups to you. Like, that's the shit. But I'm talking about the episode from when it aired and how the episode went. So, yeah, a lot of things have changed, but I'm reviewing this episode from how it was when it was on, when it first came on, as I never reviewed it before. So I'm reviewing it now. But congrats to you if you lost the weight, which I know Brandy did, and I know Rashawn did. I haven't seen Clarence, but there was a blog. I came across a blog that said he did lose a lot of weight. So he had the surgery, so he probably did. He probably looks great. But getting back to how this episode went. Okay, so a month since Brandy's surgery, back to Dr. Now for another weigh-in. Rashonda weighs in at 709, only lost 13 pounds. Supposed to be at 661, so she was fucking up again. She was losing weight, but not like she should have. Wasn't enough weight. Brandy weighs in at 430. She met her goal, but should have been because she had surgery. She was on a liquid diet, so she was gonna lose weight. You know what I mean? Dr. Now is happy with her progress. He comes down hard on Rashonda and tells her that she needs to lose more weight. Dr. Now gets Rashonda set up for psychotherapy. She needed it because her emotional issues were driving her to food. So until she was able to deal with those issues, she was just going to keep going back to food. She didn't know any other way to cope. You got to find another way to channel that. Instead of always fucking with food, you just go another route. So, okay. So she goes to see Lola about her fears. She talks to Lola about her fears and stuff, and she tells her that she basically is afraid because her mother died when she had surgery, and she didn't want to have to go through. Lola's explaining to her it's a risk. It's a risk that you have to take, but it's worth the risk because you're going to have a different life. And Rashonda was just basically saying that she was afraid to take that risk. So Lola did help her out a lot. I love Lola. She gives the best advice. Her, Dr. Paradise, they're pretty good therapists on the show. So next scene, Brandy and Rashonda go to the gym. They work out. They push themselves really, really hard. Clarence is at the basketball court with a good friend. He's playing basketball, and the friend is helping to keep him motivated. And now Clarence decides he wants surgery. See, he don't know what he want to do. He don't know what he wants to do. He just was so undecided. But I can kind of understand why. He had the same fear Rashonda did. Fear of going under the knife. He's not sure if he's going to come out of it alive. I get that, but you still, in order to truly be happy in life, sometimes you have to take risks. Sometimes that's just what you got to do. Clarence goes to Houston to visit. They were mad at him for a while for leaving, and now they're speaking to him again. So the next weigh-in, Clarence lost 54 pounds. Brandy weighs in at 430, lost 38 pounds. She's down to 392. Rashonda weighs in at 632, losing 77 pounds. So she finally got back on track. I was so happy to see that. Good for her. Good for her. Dr. Now praises Brandy and Rashonda. Still doesn't approve Rashonda for weight loss surgery because her body's still under a lot of strain. She still needed to get under 600 pounds. So he gives her another month. Clarence gets approved for the surgery. Clarence goes back to Louisiana, gets his dad, brings him down to Houston so everybody can be there together as everybody's doing their thing. They can still keep an eye on him because dad's health is declining according to them, and they needed to take care of him. Next scene, Clarence gets the surgery. He gets the gastric sleeve. Surgery goes well. Rashonda goes to the gym. Brandy stays home. She doesn't really want to go to the gym. She works hard so she can lose the weight even more, along with the diet. Next weigh-in is just Rashonda and Brandy. Brandy weighs in at 382, only lost 10 pounds. So she still was kind of sneak eating. Even after that surgery she had, she still was kind of sneak eating. Because she should have lost more than 10 pounds. After surgery, she should have lost more than that at that weigh-in. Probably double that. So she's still been eating more. And the doctor said that. He was like, you eating more throughout the day. Yeah. So, Rashonda weighs in at 605. She lost 27 pounds. She still was not under 600, but the doctor finally approved her for surgery. He thinks she was working hard enough, and she got approved. This next scene where Rashonda and Brandy go shopping for clothes. I want to say something about that too. Rashonda had her shit with her throughout this episode, but Rashonda, there's two things I give Rashonda credit for that you do not see with a lot of people her size. Rashonda was still walking, and Rashonda kept herself up well. You see a lot of women, well, not a lot of women, but some women on this show, when they get to be a certain size, they don't keep them, when they get really big, they let themselves go. They don't get the nails done. They don't get their hair done. Not saying that getting your hair and nails done is a priority, but, you know, she kept herself up like a feminine female, even with all that weight. Hair was fixed real nice. She put makeup on. Nails were done. And when they went shopping, when they went to the store to get clothes, she says, her and Brandy both, they said, we were always so big, we could never go to the store to shop. Because they didn't have our size, we were so big, we always ordered online. So now that we lost all this weight, we can go to the store now and finally find some things, you know, that's, you know, at the store that's in our size. And Rashonda said, I'm into fashion. She says, if it's hot and I can wear it, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to wear it. So that just goes along. It coincides with what I said. You know, she likes to look nice. She likes to keep herself up. She never let herself go. She never totally gave up, even though she was very emotional. She was smart and slick out the mouth with her siblings. Oh, that girl got a slick mouth. And she would get a little depressed at times and things of that nature. She didn't allow that to diminish any of her femininity or the fact that she could still get around. She didn't just give up and say, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna lay in the bed. You know, that's not what she did. She didn't do that. She allowed herself to, you know, still be upbeat to a certain extent. So I have to give her credit for that. You didn't give up. You didn't, well, at least completely. You didn't give up. You didn't let yourself go. And big ups to women like that. You know, I like those type of chicks that, you know, feminine females. You like to look pretty. You like to be dainty. She still was like that, even though she was heavyset, you know. So, those type of chicks you can learn from, you know. Don't let what other people think about you and your size or whatever else you may have going on in your life stop you from carrying yourself like a lady. It's, you know, and I thought that was really, really cool about her. So, let's see. We're just about at the end here. Okay, so, they went shopping and they were trying to find, decent clothes. Brandy was able to find some decent clothes. Rashonda was able to find some decent clothes. And, they were happy that they could find clothes at their size. And afterwards, they all went bowling to celebrate. They were happy. Clarence had his surgery. Brandy had his surgery. Brandy had her surgery. Clarence had his surgery. And Rashonda was about to get hers. So they were all very excited. And they should have went out to celebrate. I'm happy for them. I'm really, really happy for them. Big ups to them. And from what I read, as far as blogs and what I've seen on Facebook, they're all doing extremely well. They've all lost a bunch of weight. I wish them all the best. And I'm done with this video. This has been the longest 600-pound life video I've done. But it makes sense because they had a 2-part episode. And I had 7 pages worth of notes. Lisa's is up next. Please look for my next review. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I love you. Follow me on all social media. The description box will have where you can find me on the net. My outro, the ending of this video, will have where you can find me on the net. I appreciate you taking the time to check me out. And subscribe, please. Peace.